Hello everybody. So today is going to be a slightly different video, and this is a presentation that I had to do on a Russian folklore spirit, and I chose Leshii, the woodland spirit, and I just find it really interesting. I've never learned about the Russian folklore before I started this course and learning Russian, so it has been really interesting to actually delve into that sort of history for Russia. And this is my chosen woodland spirit for my assignment, so I thought I would share it all with you guys just because I think it's really fascinating and just really cool. So I thought that would be nice. So again, this is Leshii, the woodland spirit. So forests in Russia have a very important role. They have the largest forested area of any country in the world of approximately 800 million hectares, and this equates to about 5% of the Earth's land. So, of course, this plays a massive role in regulating the climate just because of how much CO2 the trees and the other foliage are bringing in from the atmosphere, and also how much oxygen they are therefore releasing. They also help to protect biodiversity just because of the sheer expanse of the forest. There are going to be thousands upon thousands of different species that are protected and housed within these trees. So there are going to be like mammals, birds, insects, plants, everything that you can think of will probably be in these forests. And that is massively important, not only for Russia, but for the world in general. These forests also help to support indigenous peoples who've lived in these Russian forests for centuries. And a really important part of the forest in Russia is the taiga or the boreal forests. So 95% of Russia's closed forested areas. And this is the largest forested region on Earth. And these are primarily birch, pine, spruce, and fir trees. And in Slavic culture, the forests hold a great significance, and it is believed that they are a sacred realm inhabited by various spirits, one of which being Leshii. So Leshii is known by a variety of names and spellings, and I'm going to refer to him during this presentation as Leshii, but he's also known as Leshovic, for example, or Lesnik. So he is a male woodland spirit in Slavic mythology, and he is a protector of the wild animals and the forest themselves, so birds, the animals, and the trees. So the as he is a pagan spirit, when the church first started going into Russia and Christianity started to spread into that part of the world, the church turned him into an evil creature with demonic features, also known as a boruta. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, I'm not sure. And potentially this was due to Christianity obviously not liking paganism, and this sort of thing happened when the Christians moved into the Nordic region with the Vikings. Obviously, the Vikings had their own pagan beliefs, which Christianity obviously didn't agree with. So that could just be a way of trying to turn the natives against their pagan spirits and their native spirits and turning them onto Christianity. But I'm not sure on that. I don't know. So it is believed Leshy was born from the essence of the forest itself, which makes him incredibly powerful, and he is found only within the boundary of his forest, so his territory, then he only resides within that region. His appearance is very debated, I'll say. So usually he is a tall man, but he can change his appearance drastically. So he can be as tiny as a blade of grass, and he can also be taller than the tallest trees. It's said that he has a beard and hair which is living, and it is of grass and vines, but other reports say that he's got very pale skin and bright green eyes. He's known to have a very close bond with grey wolves and is often seen with bears. One report I read said that he tended to present as a bear, but I'm not sure if that was just that one source that believed that. Um, Another source says that he carries a club to show that he is the forest lord and a master of the wood, and he also may wear a blue hood that therefore tints his cheeks blue. So all of these reports are different and varied, and it's probably because he has a elusive form, and often he is accompanied by very strong winds that blow in front of and behind him. So his path is obstructed from others, and his footsteps are blown away. So he leaves no traces, and people can't follow him. So his abilities and powers are also massively varied. So he is a protector of all animals and birds within the forest, but also the trees themselves. It is said that he can instruct mass migrations, and whether that was just born from people way back when they didn't understand why birds would migrate like that, I don't know. I don't understand, or I don't know why Leshii would instruct animals to leave, whether he in his spiritness knew that it would be best for the birds to go somewhere warmer for the winter. I don't know, but that's what they believe. He can shapeshift into any form, so a human, a plant, or an animal, which is good for being elusive. And when he appears human, he appears as a common peasant, except his eyes always glow and his shoes are on backwards. Another thing is that he can manipulate the forest at will, so he can change how it appears, and he does this maybe to make wanderers lost, and he uses illusions, and he can control the growth of plants, and he can summon storms. So some reports, as we'll get onto, depict him as a malevolent being. So changing the forest and creating illusions to confuse people is quite a prevalent thing that is encountered with Leshii when he is spoken about. So his behavior is also quite varied. So it's often reported that he's quite solitary, but sometimes he is depicted with a wife or a female Leshii. It is said that he mixed the voices of people and animals to add to his trickery. So as well as creating illusions, he can also mimic sounds and voices to further make people lost if that is his intention. In some tales, it is said that Leshii can befriend humans, and he befriends the humans that are respectful of the forest or have true intentions. For example, a hunter who is going into the forest for food. Um, and in some regions, Leshii is believed to have a rivalry with Voronoi, which is the Russian water spirit. So he's quite a cool little character on his own. Um, As well as befriending some humans, it is said that he can act as a guide or a mentor to those who seek his wisdom, and it is believed that he can be appeased by offerings like bread or tobacco. And a lot of the things I read said that they would leave these at the border of the forest and not actually go in themselves. So further on for his behavior, it his attitude and behavior towards humans varies depending on their behavior. So some call him a malevolent trickster, who misguides wanderers, who abducts small children. And one of his favorite tricks is to lead wanderers into the center of the forest and leave them there with a laugh, which obviously would be very frightening if you've been led into the deep wood, the deep forest, and then you've been abandoned and everything looks different to how you thought it originally looked. And that comes into how he may make the forest change to make all paths look the same, furthering to that being lost, because you just can't find your way out if everything looks the same. In contrast to this, some reports say that he is quite temperamental and has a fairy-like disposition. So whilst others say that he abducts small children, others say that he possesses the power to whisk children away who are being mistreated by their kin, particularly their parents. So if he knows that a child is in a bad place or in danger, then he may take that child away and keep them safe. And as well as making all paths look the same, he may make a true path appear for wanderers who are lost in order to guide them safely out of the forest or to wherever they need to be. So there are a number of ways of invoking Leshii in the tales, and people may invoke him for safe passage through the forest, and some say that he can be defeated or appeased by specific magical rituals, which include one being creating a circle with young birch trees and removing a cross and shouting loudly, "Grandfather." A second is to fell a pine tree onto two aspen trees in the forest and stand on them facing north. And a third is to, on the night of Ivan Kapula, cut an aspen tree so it falls to the east, stand on the stump facing east, bend over, flip between your legs, and say, "Uncle Leshii, show yourself as I am, not as a grey wolf, black raven, or fir tree." So the night of the Kapala night, I will say, is a major folk holiday in some of the Slavic countries that coincides with the Christian feast of the Nativity of St. John of St. John the Baptist and the East Slavic feast of St. John's Eve. So it takes place on the shortest night of the year, so it's revered as the summer solstice. And for Russia and Belarus, this is the 6th to the 7th of July, in accordance with the Julian calendar. And for the Czech Republic, Poland, Slovakia, Bulgaria, and Ukraine, this is the 21st to the 22nd, or the 23rd to the 24th of June. So it depends on which area you're in, but for Russia, which obviously I am more interested in, it's the 6th to the 7th of July. So there have been a number of reports that link Leshii to missing people, and there are local legends that tell of travelers venturing too deeply into the forest only to disappear, which then leaves the communities completely bewildered. Though, if you think about it logically, the forests are huge and it is very easy to get lost in a forest. I think we've all been hiking or in the woods and gotten confused of where we are. So to have a forest that is ginormous, I think beyond anything that we can even conceptualize, then it is very easy to get lost. So of course people are going to lose their way, and if you're lost in the woods, then things can go very south very quickly. Um, the only thing with it is that the disappearances share common themes, such as witnesses hearing otherworldly whispers or strange rustling of leaves. And if you live near a forest, you tend to know the sound, so anything that is reported as being unusual by locals should probably be believed. And those claiming to have encountered Leshii report an overwhelming sense of unease and primal fear, which then leads others into believing that Leshii can instill terror in his victims. Some reports say that if you do encounter a Leshii, one way of making him be nice to you or leaving you alone or not hurting you would be to make him laugh. And one way of doing this is to remove all of your clothing, put it on backwards or inside out, and then put your shoes on backwards. So, as earlier, when we were talking about how, as in his human form, his shoes are on backwards, that again is a common theme. So, that makes him laugh, apparently. So, he will leave you be. And so, in summary, he is a guardian of the forest whose behavior towards you depends on your intentions. Leshii is a mystical being with many powers, which he uses to protect the forest while also punishing those who wish to do harm to it. He can communicate with and control animals, and he is a shapeshifter and trickster, and only one Leshii can inhabit a particular area. It is said that if there's more than one and they encounter each other, then there will be a massive battle, and that can cause tremendous destruction of trees and the environment around them in general. And that is just because they are quite solitary, unless you believe some reports that say that he's got a wife. But there can never be two Leshies together. They just don't like that. Um, so that is what I have learned about Leshii. And of course, I am not a native Russian or a Slavic person. I am English and I've been born and raised in this country. So Russian folklore is not something that I've ever really encountered before or read about. So this is only my first kind of introduction to it. If there's anything that you guys can add or anything that you would like to mention to me, then feel free to do that in the comments below. I'm always happy to, and open to suggestions and pointers. And I hope you guys have enjoyed learning this little bit about Leshii, as I massively enjoy reading about him myself. So that's all for today. I hope you guys have a really lovely day today and that you're just feeling good. So I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.